Hello viewers, my name is Samir Khan and welcome back to my channel Sam's Classroom. Today we are going to learn about the role of light in photosynthesis. See, during Priestley's time, scientists they didn't understand much about energy, but later on much was discovered about it. See, at that time they used to believe that to form a bond between carbon and oxygen as well as hydrogen and oxygen, energy is required. What about the reverse process? What about breaking the bonds between them? Do it also requires energy? The same question came in the minds of these great people. So they started thinking that what about the plants? See, plants are also are liberating oxygen. So how that oxygen is coming? That must be coming from either a water molecule or else from the carbon dioxide. So, from where the plants are getting that energy to liberate oxygen? So, this question was answered by a Dutch scientist whose name is Jan Ingenhousz. In the year 1779, he noticed that it happened only in the presence of light. See, when he was performing an experiment with aquatic plants like hydrilla, he observed that the hydrilla plant in the presence of bright sunlight was liberating some gas bubbles, and he collected those gas bubbles and found that the gas bubbles which are liberated here were oxygen. So he proved it with the help of an experiment also, which we will be learning later. But he also noticed one more thing, that these plants they were not doing such process in the dark conditions. That means during the dark conditions the hydrilla plants were not liberating any oxygen. So later on, this similar concept was confirmed by Engelmann in the early 20th century. See, he did it ingeniously. It does mean by chance, while performing certain experiment, he found that when he exposed these algal strands as well as oxygen sensitive bacteria to certain illuminated areas, they were moving towards blue and red rays. That means they are moving to certain light rays only. So that means these bacteria they are getting attracted to certain light rays. In the similar way, plants also they get attracted to the green color light which is present in the visible light. So this was confirmed by Engelmann by his experiments. So of course we'll be learning that experiment later, after proving that oxygen is produced during photosynthesis in the presence of light. So this experiment is also called as hydrilla funnel experiment. So for this experiment, the apparatus we require is funnel, hydrilla twigs, test tube, beaker, water, and an incense stick. See what you have to do with this. See, first of all, take a funnel and take few hydrilla twigs and insert these hydrilla twigs inside the funnel, and see that all the cut ends of the hydrilla twig should be towards the narrow end of the funnel. Now keep this funnel inside the beaker and fill the beaker with water. Now take a test tube, fill it with water and carefully invert it over the funnel. Now keep this entire setup in a sunlight for nearly 2 to 3 hours. You'll notice that some gas bubbles are liberated from the hydrilla twigs. So let those gas bubbles get collected in the test tube. After sufficient gas is collected, you can take out the test tube carefully by closing it with the help of a thumb. Now there is a gas present inside the test tube. You don't know which gas is it. We need to test it. So what you will do, you will put this test tube in front of the incense stick or a matchstick. You will notice that the burning matchstick or incense stick, it burns more brightly by liberating certain flames. So this indicates the presence of oxygen gas. So this is the test for oxygen. So from this experiment we can clearly prove that oxygen is produced during the process called photosynthesis. So again we have to remember here, this oxygen gets liberated only in the presence of light. So now let us prove that the sunlight is essential for the process of photosynthesis. So for this we require a well potted plant which has broad leaves, a black paper, few paper clips, and along with it we even require iodine also to perform iodine test. So what we have to do is, before performing this experiment, we have to take this well potted plant which is having broad leaves and keep it in a dark room for nearly 4 to 5 days in order to make it free from starch. So the leaf should be completely destarched. Now, on the day of experiment, take this plant, take one black paper and make some cut in between it. So you can make any cut. You can make a triangular shape, or else you can make a rectangular or a square shape in between the paper. Now attach that paper to one of the leaf with the help of paper clips and keep this entire apparatus in the sunlight as shown in the figure. Now after 3 to 4 hours, you can detach this leaf and take it for the iodine test. So when you perform iodine test, you will notice that the part of the leaf which is exposed to the sunlight will change into blue-black color, whereas the part of the leaf which was covered by the black paper will not change into blue-black color. So this indicates the importance of sunlight during the process of photosynthesis. Now let us study about the role of chlorophyll and photosynthesis. See, Ingenhousz, after performing these experiments, he got interested in these photosynthesis experiments, and he performed several other experiments also. He proposed one thing, that only green parts of the plants were carrying photosynthesis. This arised several questions. See, the scientific community always asks proofs. So they asked several questions to Ingenhousz. So what about those plants which produce red colored leaves? Or else what about those plants which produce yellow colored leaves during the autumn season? So do they also perform photosynthesis? And what about the green colored animals? Like there are certain birds are there, there are certain animals are there which are green in color. Do they also perform photosynthesis? So these questions were remained unanswered by Ingenhousz. Why? Because he didn't know much about this concept. He only knows only one thing, that plants which are green in color were performing photosynthesis. He didn't know whether the animals which are green in color are performing photosynthesis or not. See, after the proposition of Ingenhousz, after nearly 40 years, this question was answered. This was answered during 1817 by the work of two scientists whose name is Pelletier and Caventou. So Pelletier and Caventou, these two people, during 1817, they have extracted the green color substance from inside the leaves and they named it as chlorophyll. Now what is chlorophyll mean? Chlorophyll mean green leaf. So it happened after 4 decades, that means after 40 years of Ingenhousz proposition. Pelletier and Caventou, they also found that there are certain other pigment molecules are present inside the plants along with this green color pigment. And those other pigment molecules were called as accessory pigment molecules. Now what are accessory pigment molecules? Accessory means in addition. Okay, in addition to this major pigment chlorophyll, there were several other pigment molecules are also present inside the plants which are helping in the process of photosynthesis. So they have given us the information about it. Now came the question where this chlorophyll is present. So at that time, Pelletier and Caventou, they didn't know about this cell organelle which is called as chloroplast. So they simply answered that maybe this chlorophyll is spread inside the leaves. So because they didn't know about the chloroplast, because it was not yet discovered, so they said that the chlorophyll is present inside the cells in the leaves. But after 6 decades, that means after 60 years of Pelletier and Caventou's discovery, during the year 1883, because of the works of Julius von Sack, he observed that chlorophyll is present inside a plant cell which is called as a chloroplast, and a chloroplast is present inside this cell. So chloroplast is one of the cell organelle. And these cell organelles, chloroplasts, are present inside the cells. Like there are several other cell organelles like mitochondria, Golgi apparatus, nucleus. So in the same way, chloroplasts also are cell organelles which are present inside the cell. So chlorophyll is present inside these cell organelles. Now there are nearly 40 to 100 chloroplasts are present in each cell. Now came a question where these chloroplasts are present inside the leaf. See, you can see the transverse section of leaf. Okay, if you take the picture of transverse section of leaf, you will notice that the upper portion contain the palisade parenchyma and the lower portion contains spongy parenchyma. So palisade parenchyma has closely packed cells, whereas spongy parenchyma has loosely packed cells. So most of the chloroplast is present in the palisade parenchyma, whereas there are even chloroplasts are present in the spongy parenchyma also, but most are present towards the upper portion of the leaf. So that is the reason why the upper portion of the leaf is bright green in color. Okay, but it was, see, do you know, it was very difficult to isolate this chloroplast from inside the cell, because to isolate the chloroplast or else to extract the chloroplast from inside the cell, we have to break the cell membrane. And what would have happened is, the cell, whenever they used to break the cell membrane, the chloroplast used to get destroyed. But it was until 1954. In the year 1954, Daniel I. Ornon, this scientist, very gently he has extracted the chloroplast from inside the cell and he studied the structure. So according to him, chloroplast has three membranes and it is a double bond membranous organelle, and the third membrane is stacked into sac-like structures. So sac mean bag. So it is stacked into sac-like structures called granum. Now, see, granum is believed to the site for trapping solar energy. That means all the chlorophyll, the green color pigment, is present inside the granum, and here the trapping of solar energy takes place, and this solar energy is converted into chemical energy. Whereas the fluid portion of the chloroplast, the intermediary fluid portion which is filled inside the chloroplast, is called as stroma, and it is believed that all the enzymatic reactions which are required for the process of photosynthesis takes place here inside the stroma. So that means the conversion of carbon dioxide into carbohydrates and later into starch will happen here inside the stroma. So that means the trapping of solar energy is performed by granum, and the other remaining activities, the enzymatic reactions, are all taking place inside the stroma. So this they'll help in the formation of starch. Now, talking about the substances which are present in the chloroplast, see, there are, already we have discussed about pigments. These pigments which are present inside the chloroplast are called as photosynthetic pigments. So there is a major photosynthetic pigment we have, which we know, that is called as chlorophyll. Apart from chlorophyll, there are other pigment molecules are also present. Now, see, chlorophyll is such a pigment which contains one atom of magnesium, which is similar to hemoglobin, the red color pigment which is present in animal blood. So hemoglobin is made up of one atom of iron and protein, whereas chlorophyll is made up of one atom of magnesium and protein. So there are several similarities are there in between chlorophyll and hemoglobin. Later, see, there are two major kinds of chlorophylls are there which are associated with the thylakoid membrane. They are chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B. See, chlorophyll A is blue-green in color, whereas chlorophyll B is yellow-green in color. Now you might have got the clarity why the red colored leaves are produced when the newly formed leaves are there, or else there are certain leaves which are red in color. It is because of the chlorophyll A. And what about those leaves which shed during the autumn season? Autumn season those leaves which shed during the autumn season, they are yellow in color because of chlorophyll B. So these pigment molecules, they join together, nearly 250 to 400 pigment molecules, they'll join together to form light harvesting systems. So these light harvesting systems, they'll help in trapping the solar energy and converting into chemical energy. See, during the process of photosynthesis, several events takes place inside the chloroplast. So some of the major events which takes place inside the chloroplast are, the first one is conversion of light energy into chemical energy. So here the light energy is converted into chemical energy. So this happens, of course, as we have discussed, it happens in the granum. Granum contains chlorophyll pigment, and this chlorophyll pigment, it helps in trapping the solar energy and converting it into chemical energy. The second event which takes place inside this chloroplast is splitting up of water molecule. See, using this chemical energy, the water molecule is split into H plus ions and OH minus ions. So here the splitting of water molecule is the second event which happens inside the chloroplast. And the third event which takes place inside the chloroplast is reduction of carbon dioxide to carbohydrates. So reduction means removal of oxygen and addition of hydrogen. See, as you can see, carbon dioxide has carbon and oxygen. So to form carbohydrates, addition of hydrogen is required. So the carbon dioxide is reduced. That means the oxygen is removed and the hydrogen is added to the carbon, and it helps in the formation of carbohydrates. So this is the third event which takes place in the chloroplast. See, there are light dependent phases are there and light independent phases are there in the mechanism of photosynthesis. See, there are certain reactions which takes place only in the presence of light. Those reactions which takes place in the presence of light are called light dependent events or light dependent reactions, or simply we can call them as light reactions. And there are certain reactions or activities are there which are performed when there is no light is required for this. So that means it may happen in the presence of light or else in the absence of light also.